Hello, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Mary, and today's video is going to be my Sorry Picks My TBR for the month of February. If you're new to my channel, then you might not know, but every single month on my channel, I like to play the game Sorry to decide the books that I'm going to read during the coming month. And I mentioned in my January TBR video, which I'll have linked somewhere so you can watch it, I have a whole playlist of this game if you want to watch others of these. But one of you were so kind and you commented on that video and you said that I should pick a number of books or a number of prompts that I want to do on the board, and then build my TBR based on that number. And so this month I did go ahead and do that, and I picked 5 prompts, or I picked 5 turns, and then I played the game to figure out what the prompts are. So I just wanted to explain that really quick. So I'm not going to go all the way around the board this time because I was getting overwhelmed with the sheer amount of TBR, and I just picked prompts based on the cards that I drew. So without further ado, let's just go ahead and get into the first card. We're starting on red. Okay. The first card is move forward 8. Less than 150 pages. The first prompt that I landed on was to read a book that is less than 150 pages. This was actually really hard for me to find. I think I'm going to change that prompt to less than 250 pages because I mostly read books that are like 400 to 500 pages. So less than 250 is kind of hard for me, but I did end up picking Candide by Voltaire. So this is a library copy and it has Candide as well as philosophical letters. Candide is under 100 pages, I believe. And then, yeah, Candide is 103 pages and philosophical letters starts right after that. So I'm just planning on reading Candide. I don't know what this is about. It's a classic from, I believe, 17th century France. And it's all I know about it is that Voltaire is a philosopher, or a French philosopher, so I'm interested to read this. Yeah, I've never read any Voltaire before, but I've heard good things about this. I've heard it's kind of dense to get through, but it's only 100 pages, so I'm not super concerned about it. But yeah, I am pretty excited to pick that one up. Next, we have Move Forward 5. A book in a series. The next prompt that I landed on was to read a book in a series, and for this I'm going to be reading Daughter of Smoke and Bone by Laini Taylor. This is the first book, and I believe the series is just called the Daughter of Smoke and Bone series, and I am buddy reading this with Kelly from the Velvet Library, so I'll have her channel linked down below so you can check out her channel out. She's a South African YouTuber, and she's amazing. I love her videos, but I'm really excited. This is going to be one of my first buddy reads. I'm doing 2 buddy reads this month. Spoiler alert. But this is going to be one of them, and I'm really, really excited to buddy read it. I don't know much about it. I know this book was released, I think, in 2011. I could be wrong about that, but this is a YA fantasy series about, like, angels, devils, and monsters, I think. But I'm really excited to read this. This will also be my first Laini Taylor. I know Kelly really likes Laini Taylor's writing style, and I've heard that she's very lyrical in her writing, which I'm really interested to see if I enjoy that in my fantasy. Because I think there's a distinct possibility that I will, but also there's a chance that it just really won't be for me. But I am buddy reading this entire series with Kelly, so I'm very, very excited to start it. Move Forward 12. A book that's more than 500 pages. The next prompt that I landed on was to read a book that is over 500 pages, and for this is another one of those tricky ones. So last month, spoiler alert, on my January TBR, I had the same prompt, and I picked the book The Recovering by Leslie Jamison, which is a nonfiction memoir about a woman who struggled with addiction, and specifically alcohol addiction, and it's the story of her sort of seeking help for that addiction, and I think it has more like sciencey things just about addiction in it. I'm not sure because I did not end up getting to read that book. It was not available at my library where I thought it would be, and I'm on a book buying ban. So if that had happened normally, I would have just bought the book, but because I'm not allowing myself to buy books right now for, not books for fun that are not for school, I couldn't just go out and buy it. So I'm still waiting for that to become available, but I still have that on hold. I also have the option to read an ebook of A Million Little Pieces by, is his name Jonathan Frey, I think. I could be wrong about that. That was a book that caused a lot of controversy back in the early 2000s. It was an Oprah's book club pick because it's, again, supposed to be about, I think, addiction and recovery from addiction. And it turns out the book is entirely fictionalized, but the author made it sound like it was a memoir. And that's sort of how it was a selling point. So I've been wanting to read that forever. My sisters read it and my mom read it when it first came out and when all that controversy was going on. And then I feel like it sort of fell from grace because of that. But I've heard it's still a good book, even without that aspect. It's not as good knowing that it's not based on a true story. But I am interested in reading that. So I will pick up that if The Recovering doesn't become available for me. I'm the first person on the holds list, so I should get it at some point. But we'll just see. It just depends on when the person who has it out from the library returns it, I guess. Move forward 2 spaces. Ooh, paranormal. The next prompt that I landed on was to read a book that has paranormal aspects to it. So for this, I'm going to be listening to The Beautiful by Renee Ahdieh. And this is a vampire story set in New Orleans. And from what I understand, the vampires aren't as big of a part of the first book. I don't really know what else the plot is. I just heard vampires in New Orleans and it sounds incredible to me. Like, Interview with the Vampire is also set in New Orleans, and I've seen that movie. I haven't read those books. But I am very excited for this one, and I do think I will be getting this in the first week of February from my library as an audiobook. So I'm really, really excited to finally read some Renee Ahdieh. My boyfriend's mom has been telling me how great her books are for probably like 6 months at this point, and I'm just happy to finally be able to fit one of them in to my TBR. Move forward 12. A book in a series. And the last prompt that I landed on was to read another book in a series, and for this I chose The Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring. I've been wanting to read the Lord of the Rings books forever, basically, and I've heard that they're best read if you consider them all as one book because they weren't written as sequels. They were sort of written to be one story, so they don't really, each book doesn't have its own beginning, middle, and end. The books are like beginning, middle, and end. So tentatively, I'm going to try to read all 3 of these. Over 1,000 pages for all 3 of them, which, because I have kind of a sparse TBR, that shouldn't be too terrible to get through, but I'm hoping to do that. If I do end up reading all 3 of these, I'm also hoping to vlog my experience reading them because it will be the first time that I've read the books. I've seen the movies, honestly, probably like 15 times each. I love those movies. I've probably seen Return of the King more than any of the other ones because that was always my favorite. But we watched these over Christmas this year. I saw a tweet from somebody that was, somebody was like, my dad thinks The Lord of the Rings is a Christmas movie because it has elves. And I agree. So I'm going to make it my Christmas tradition to watch The Lord of the Rings. But I did just want to read these because I just watched the movies and we have them. And I was like, you know what? I've never read those. I would like to. So I'm tentatively putting all of these on. Definitely Fellowship of the Ring. And that is it for my Sorry Picks My TBR. I do have a couple other books that I'm planning on getting to, or that I would like to get to in the month of February. One of them is another buddy read. So I'm buddy reading the entire Jane Austen, how do I say that? I'm buddy reading all of Jane Austen's full-length novels in the publication date order with my good friend Amanda from her Pacific Northwest Washington life. She's taking the year off of posting on YouTube, but I will have her Instagram linked down below because she's still very active over there. And I love Amanda. I think she's great. So I'm really excited to finally have a buddy read. And so I'm buddy reading this with her. I will link my original announcement video for my buddy reading the Jane Austen, buddy reading all of Jane Austen's works, or my Jane Austen book club that I was trying to do. And so if anyone else is interested in joining that, let me know and I can figure out a way to add you to the discussion. We are reading Sense and Sensibility in February, Pride and Prejudice in April, and then all the other works in publication date order. I can't remember what the date is off the top, or what the order is off the top of my head, but that's all in the original video. So if you're interested in that, I will link that video down below so you can watch that. But I don't know very much about this, but I'm really excited to dive into Jane Austen's works. I mentioned in that announcement video that the only one that I've read before is Pride and Prejudice, but it's been almost a decade since I've read it. So very, very excited to give Jane Austen another shot and to actually dive into some of her works. I'm trying to get more into classics because I feel like I haven't read very many of them, and a lot of them I was assigned in school, but I did not read. So I'm trying to fix that now as an adult. And then the final book that's tentatively going on my TBR is The Brightlands by John Fram. This is a horror novel about a young gay boy whose brother goes missing when he's in high school, and I believe this is after the fact. They grew up in this small town, and his brother goes missing, and I don't know if it's like a serial killer or if there's a paranormal element to it or what it is, but I think the Brightland is like an urban legend about missing people. I'm not sure how that's going to play out. I know Gabby from Gabby Reads really, really loved this book, and if you saw my first vlog of the year, I'll have it linked somewhere. I randomly got this from the library. I don't remember placing it on hold, but I think I requested that my library get it. Like, I think they didn't have it yet. And then when you request that your library get a book, they automatically put you on hold for it. So I got this from my library without realizing that I had it on hold in January. But I decided I'm gonna tentatively put this on my February TBR. If I finish the last of my January TBR, then I will just start reading this right away. But yeah, I'm very excited to read this one. And I'm interested to see how I'll feel about it. That is it. Those are the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9 books that are tentatively going on my February TBR. Let me know, as always, if you've read any of these books and how you felt about them. And also feel free to let me know down below what you're planning on reading in the month of February. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you made it this far, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you would like to see more content from me, and I will see you on my next video. Bye!